Welcome back to the deep dive. We are thrilled you're here with us today because we are looking at something that could just fundamentally change the way you think about your business, your career, and honestly, the way you spend every single hour of your workday.
It really is a massive paradigm shift when you internalize it.
It is. And today's mission is all about unpacking a massive shortcut to business growth. We're digging into the core principles of Alan Dibb's The One-Page Marketing Plan. And I want you to imagine a scenario where just 4% of your actions lead to 64% of your results.
Sounds like a magic trick.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this. Most of us are already familiar with the famous 80-20 Pareto principle. You know, the idea that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts.
Right, it's a classic business principle.
Exactly. But Alan Dibb applies that rule to itself. If you take 20% of the top 20% and 80% of the top 80%, you arrive at the 644 rule. Literally, the vast majority of your success, over 60% of it, comes from an incredibly tiny, hyper-focused fraction of your actions.
And our ultimate goal with this deep dive today is to help you figure out exactly what those highly leveraged actions are, that 4%. So you can escape what's known as the technician trap.
Ah, right, from Michael Gerber's book.
Yes, the E-myth, which is heavily referenced in our sources today. The psychology of this trap it's just fascinating, and it's why so many small businesses fail. Say you have a truly great plumber. He's working for a boss he can't stand, so he thinks, I do all the actual work. I'm great at plumbing. I'll just start my own plumbing business.
But he fails.
He fails. Why? Because the technical skill of doing the work and the entrepreneurial skill of running the business are two entirely different things. He knows how to fix a pipe, but he doesn't know how to acquire a customer.
Right, you essentially go from working for an idiot boss to becoming the idiot boss. You just build yourself a prison with terrible hours because you're stuck doing the technical work while
the business starves. Exactly. And what's fascinating here is that businesses don't just die of natural causes or bad luck. They die from a lack of oxygen. And in business, oxygen is money. Nothing kills an enterprise faster than running out of cash flow.
Which is where that 4% comes in.
Precisely. The absolute fastest path to that oxygen, the most highly leveraged 4% activity you could possibly engage in to bring that money in, is creating a laser-focused, single-page marketing plan. Instead of a thick binder that sits on a shelf gathering dust, it's a living document.
So we are going to break down the mechanics of this one-page plan for you. It's elegantly simple, and it's structured chronologically around the customer's journey. It's divided into 3 crucial phases: the before phase, the during phase, and the after phase. And within those, there are 9 specific blocks.
And to make this really concrete, let's trace a single B2B service business through all 9 blocks as we go.
I love that. Let's use an IT services company as our example. So let's dive straight into Act 1, the before phase. In this stage, you are dealing strictly with prospects, people who don't even know you exist yet. The goal is simply to get them to know you. Look, we all know the pitfalls of mass marketing. Spraying and praying like a giant multinational corporation when you have a small business budget is a recipe for disaster.
It's just burning money.
It is. We know we need direct response marketing. We need it to be trackable so that spending money feels like buying a $10 bill for $2. But Alan Dibb's point is that direct response is completely useless if you don't understand the difference between your strategy and your tactics.
To get to that level of predictability where you're actually buying those $10 bills, strategy has to come first. There is a brilliant analogy in the text that perfectly captures this distinction. Imagine a circus is coming to town. If you paint a sign that says, circus coming on Saturday, that's advertising. If you put that sign on the back of an elephant and walk it into town, that's promotion. Now, if the elephant happens to walk through the mayor's flower bed and the local paper writes a story about it, that's publicity.
Right.
If you get the mayor to laugh about the ruined flowers on camera, that's public relations. But if you plan that entire sequence of events from the very beginning, that is marketing. Strategy dictates the tactics. If you don't have a strategy, you just end up suffering from bright, shiny object syndrome, chasing whatever new social media platform is popular today without knowing why.
That circus analogy is so clarifying because it shows how intentional every step needs to be. Which leads us to block 1 of the plan, selecting your target market. You cannot be all things to all people. You have to embrace the power of the niche. Your target market needs to be an inch wide and a mile deep.
Like a standard 100-watt light bulb versus a laser.
Exactly. The light bulb gives off a soft glow that lights up a room, but if you take that exact same 100 watts of energy and focus it into a laser, it can cut right through solid steel. The energy is the same, but the focus changes everything. If you are a general practitioner, you're the light bulb. But if you are a heart specialist, you're the laser. So for our B2B IT guy, he shouldn't just target anyone with a computer.
No, he should become the premier IT specialist for, say, dental offices.
Right.
And being that laser-focused specialist makes something incredible happen. Price becomes largely irrelevant. If you just had a heart attack, you aren't going to hop on Google and shop around for the cheapest general doctor. You want the absolute best heart specialist, and you expect to pay a massive premium. The exact same psychology applies to the IT guy. If he specializes in dental office compliance and software, dentists won't haggle with him. He's the expert.
Okay, so you've nailed down exactly who you're talking to. Block 2 is crafting your message. You need a unique selling proposition that actually speaks to that hyper-specific niche. The sources point out that a printer shouldn't just be trying to sell business cards. That's selling paper, which is a commodity. They need to sell the result, like landing bigger corporate clients. So for our IT guys serving dentists,
He shouldn't be selling server maintenance or router installation. He should be selling zero downtime, so the dentist never has to cancel a fully booked day of patients due to a tech failure.
yes, you sell the result.
Precisely. And that message needs to be instantly understandable. You have to enter the conversation that is already going on in the mind of your prospect. We've all been trapped at a networking event where someone delivers an elevator pitch that is just a confusing attempt to sound important, like a janitor calling themselves a waste management and sanitation technician. It just leaves people alienated.
But wait, isn't an elevator pitch supposed to sound professional? Why do people overcomplicate it so much?
Because of ego. Business owners want to sound sophisticated, so they use industry jargon. But the confused mind always says no. If a prospect has to spend mental energy decoding what you actually do, they will just move on to your competitor who speaks plainly. A great message focuses purely on the problem you solve for your niche and the proof that you can actually solve it.
That makes total sense. So you have your niche, block 1. You have your crystal clear message, block 2. But none of that matters if they never actually hear you.
Yeah.
Which brings us to block 3, reaching prospects with advertising media. How do we get this message in front of them without blowing the budget? Here's where it gets really interesting. There's a famous quote from marketing pioneer John Wanamaker. Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half.
That quote was understandable 100 years ago. Today, with the digital infrastructure we have, not tracking your return on investment is the mark of a complete amateur. You have to know precisely what your ads are doing. You need to drop the losers and ride the winners. So our IT guy shouldn't buy a billboard on the highway. He should run highly targeted LinkedIn ads exclusively to dentists in his city.
And track every single click.
Exactly. And crucially, you must avoid the single point of failure. If your business relies on just one source of leads, your business is incredibly brittle. One algorithm change and you're bankrupt. You need multiple reliable media channels. You also need to understand the vital difference between your front end and your back end.
Right. The front end is your initial offer to acquire the customer.
Yes, and your goal here isn't necessarily to get rich. It's just to make enough to cover the cost of acquiring them. The back end is where the real profit happens, through repeat purchases over the customer lifetime value. And mastering that back end is a massive part of that 644 rule we talked about.
Okay. That perfectly sets up Act 2, the during phase. Your prospects have seen your trackable ad, they've raised their hands, and they've officially transitioned from prospects to leads. The goal of this phase is getting them to actually like you and ultimately buy from you for the very first time.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this exact transition from prospect to lead is where the vast majority of businesses completely fail. They try to sell on the first date.
They come on way too strong.
Exactly. The statistics in the source material are very revealing here. At any given time, only about 3% of your target market is highly motivated and ready to buy immediately. If you just push for a hard transactional sale right out of the gate, you are only reaching that tiny 3%. You're leaving money on the table.
So what about the rest?
If you instead offer education, value, and information, you can capture the 7% who are open to buying, plus the 30% who are interested but just not ready yet. By shifting your approach from forcing a sale to gathering leads, you effectively expand your addressable market from 3% to 40%.
Think about how massive that shift is. Let's look at Block 4, capturing leads, to see this in action with our IT example. Let's say we have a local dentist named Tom. Tom is a busy business owner, and he is incredibly frustrated because his office software keeps freezing. He's browsing a dental forum and sees an ad from our IT guy. But the ad doesn't say, buy our IT services for $500 an hour. The headline is, 5 little-known strategies that unlock the power of your dental practice's IP system.
A very specific, targeted lead magnet.
Exactly. Tom clicks it. He enters his email address to get the free report. The IT company didn't ask for a sale. They offered genuine value to solve his immediate problem, and in exchange, they captured the lead.
Which brings us to block 5, nurturing leads. You have Tom's email. Now what? You have to become what the author calls a marketing farmer. You are cultivating a customer relationship management database, your CRM. You have to water those seeds regularly. And one of the most powerful tools mentioned for doing this is the shock and awe package.
The shock and awe package. I love this concept.
Imagine Tom, after downloading that digital report, suddenly receives a physical box in the mail from this IT company. It's filled with unique, benefit-laden assets. Maybe a physical book, an audit checklist, a branded thumb drive, some high-quality case studies from other local dentists. It physically blows the prospect away and positions you not just as another vendor, but as an absolute, undeniable authority in your field.
Hold on, let me play devil's advocate for a second. A physical box, sent in the mail. In 2026, isn't that insanely expensive and completely unscalable for a small business? Why not just send a PDF?
Because a PDF gets buried in an inbox and forgotten in 3 seconds. A physical box sitting on a CEO's desk demands attention. Yes, it costs money, but remember the front-end versus back-end concept. If a comprehensive IT contract is worth $20,000 to your business over its lifetime, spending $50 on a highly targeted physical shock and awe package for a qualified lead is the best investment you could possibly make.
Because it completely eliminates the competition.
It does. But to pull something like that off consistently, you can't just rely on the busy founder to remember to go to the post office. The text emphasizes that you need a manager role in the business to oversee this infrastructure. Otherwise, you end up committing random acts of marketing. You send out one newsletter, get busy with client work, and don't send another one for 6 months. A system only works if it's managed and automated.
That brings us to block 6, sales conversion, the payoff of this phase. Because you've done the heavy lifting of capturing and nurturing, the actual sale shouldn't require any high-pressure, sleazy hustling. It becomes a natural consequence of the trust you've systematically built. Going back to Tom the dentist, Tom read that free report, and it actually helped him. Then he received the shock and awe package, followed by a few genuinely helpful emails over the next couple of weeks. Because trust is firmly established, the IT company offers him a free 21-point IT audit.
A low-friction offer.
Right. Tom happily agrees. The audit reveals his patient data backups have been silently failing for 6 months. They offer Tom a discounted fix to solve the exact urgent problem they just diagnosed. The conversion is completely seamless. All the friction, the skepticism, and the doubt were removed long before the pitch was ever made.
It's ethical, it's painless, and it positions you as a trusted advisor rather than a desperate salesperson. And once that first transaction finally happens, they graduate to Act 3, the after phase.
Act 3. They've handed over their hard-earned money and they are now officially a customer. The goal here isn't just to deliver the service and walk away, it's to keep them, build a virtuous cycle of repeat buying, and get them to bring in new people. And that starts with Block 7, delivering a world-class experience.
This is a crucial distinction that most entrepreneurs completely miss. Having a great product is not a customer acquisition tool. It is a customer retention tool. If your product is terrible, they won't come back, no matter how good your marketing is. But to truly create a world-class experience, you have to spoon-feed the result to the customer. You must create theater around what you do. Don't just hand them the finished widget. Tell them the story of how it was made. Detail the painstaking effort, the thousands of hours of training, the relentless checks and balances that went into delivering this service. You have to make the invisible visible. It's about giving the market what they want, the sweet taste, so you can deliver what they actually need, the vitamin. You have to build 4 solid, scalable systems to do this: marketing, sales, operations, and admin.
Okay, take a breath. I get it. You absolutely love the theater of it. But practically speaking, for our IT guy working with dental offices, what does theater actually look like? Are we talking playing dramatic music while installing a router?
No, it's about perceived value. For the IT guy, theater means sending a detailed, beautifully formatted report every single Friday, showing exactly how many cyber threats were blocked that week, how many backups were verified, and how much uptime was maintained. The dentist didn't see the IT guy working, so the work is invisible. The report is the theater. It spoon-feeds the value so the client never wakes up and asks, why am I paying this monthly retainer?
That makes a lot of sense. So what does this all mean for the bottom line? It means if you get the experience right, you can move to block 8, increasing customer lifetime value. This is the promised land. This is where real wealth is generated, and it is the ultimate example of the 644 rule in action. There's a staggering mathematical example in the text about an electronics store. The owners are killing themselves trying to double their business by finding new customers. But DIB shows that by making just a tiny 10% improvement in the number of leads, a 10% improvement in their conversion rates, a 10% improvement in their profit margins, and cutting their fixed costs by just 10%.
The compounding effect on the bottom line is a massive 431% increase in profit.
It's unbelievable. Small hinges swing big doors. You don't need to double your customer base to double your profits. You just need tiny incremental improvements across your existing systems. That is the 4% effort yielding the 64% result. So our IT guy could just add a premium tier of service for his existing clients to boost that lifetime value.
Yes, and part of improving those margins, which is actually one of my favorite insights from the book, is knowing who to let go. The text advises you to formally fire your problem customers, the ones who drain your time, complain constantly, demand unreasonable discounts, and treat your staff poorly, like a client who calls the IT emergency line at 2 a.m. because a printer jammed. In fact, the book suggests you actively send them to your direct competitors.
Wait, hold on. Send them to the competition. If a small business is desperate for cash, isn't firing a paying customer, even a difficult one, incredibly counterintuitive.
It feels counterintuitive, but it's pure strategy. A bad customer costs you more in time, energy, and morale than they ever pay you in revenue. By firing them, you instantly free up your most valuable resources to focus on over-delivering for your best customers, the ones who actually drive that 431% profit increase. And by sending them to your competitors, you are effectively burdening your rivals with toxic clients who will drain their resources. It's a ruthless but highly effective strategy.
That is beautifully devious. All right, the final piece of the one-page plan, Block 9, orchestrating and stimulating referrals. Notice the specific words there. Orchestrating, stimulating, not hoping. Hoping for referrals is not a business strategy.
You must build a deliberate, measurable system for referrals. You have to actively set expectations with your clients from the very beginning that if you do a great job, you expect them to refer others. You also need to offer direct, tangible benefits for doing so. But another fantastic strategy here is utilizing joint ventures, or JVs.
Right, partnering up.
Yes. You look for non-competing businesses that serve your exact same target market. If you're a lawyer, partner with an accountant. If you're a high-end car detailer, partner with a luxury mechanic. For our IT guy serving dentists, he could partner with a company that sells dental x-ray equipment. They share the same client base, but don't compete. You cross-pollinate your client lists, providing genuine value to both audiences and securing a steady, reliable stream of warm leads that cost you almost nothing to acquire.
So to pull this all together, marketing is not a one-time event or a clever slogan. It is a daily process, a living, breathing system that runs your business. We like to tell ourselves that if we just build a superior product, the world will instinctively beat a path to our door. But history is littered with technically superior products that failed miserably. Think about Betamax or the Apple Newton. Having a great product is just the baseline to play the game. In the end, it's the best marketer who wins.
This raises an important question, and it's a profound shift in how we need to view business today. The sources point out a fascinating reality of the modern economy. Uber, the world's largest taxi company, owns 0 cars. Facebook, the world's most popular media owner, creates no content. Airbnb, the largest accommodation provider, owns 0 real estate.
Right.
The true value of a modern business is no longer tied up in its physical equipment or its brick-and-mortar locations. The real value is in the audience it commands and the trust it holds with that audience. So, I'll leave you with this to mull over on your own. If you were forced to sell your business tomorrow, would the buyer be paying a premium for your used office chairs and outdated laptops? Or would they be paying for the trust, the attention, and the database of raving fans you've built? And if the real value is in the database, shouldn't you be spending far more of your time building and nurturing that audience than just tinkering with your tools?
That is exactly the kind of perspective shift the one-page marketing plan is designed to give you. Stop being the technician and start building the machine. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take these concepts, sketch out your own single page, and start turning that tiny 4% of focused action to your 64% of massive results. We'll catch you on the next one.